Breeze Nation, what is good? It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. We talked about it this morning. A big Bears win over the Washington Commanders. And when there's a big Bears win, that means that we need to have big people on the show. The biggest show, I would say, in Bears YouTube space on the internet right now. We got to have in the man, the myth, the legend, Harrison Graham onto the show from Chat Now, Bears Now, Bear Down, everybody. The king, I would say, of FGB, welcoming into the show. Harrison, how are you?
I'm good, man. Don't give me too much credit. There's a lot of good competition out there, including yourself. But what a win last night, 3 straight. The vibes are up.
The vibes are definitely up. And listen, I don't know how you felt about last night's game, but I talked about it as a statement win. It felt like a win that we didn't get very often in previous years, or shall I say at all in previous years. When you look at what happened last night versus that Washington Commanders, what was your takeaway from the game? Did it feel like to you a true statement win for the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was a statement of like this team is a major NFC contender, but I think it was a statement of like this is not the same old Chicago Bears. To your point, I don't think this team wins this game last year. I don't think this team wins this in many recent years. I was actually thinking about it last night. The last time the Bears won a game against a quality opponent that was tight back and forth, that felt at least somewhat meaningful, was probably the Bucs in 2020 when they beat Tom Brady and he thought he still had an extra down.
When he got a little confused in there when it was fourth down, right? But no, buddy.
And the Bears were actually 5-1 at the time. People forget that.
Yeah.
And then that season fell apart and they actually made the playoffs, but they weren't very good. But yeah, it's been a while since they've won a game like that against a quality opponent. I do think Washington is a little bit flawed. There was a lot of data from their team last year that suggested they would probably regress just in terms of how good they were on fourth down last year, how good they were in one-score games, how clutch Jaden was in the fourth quarter. Like, it's hard to repeat those type of things year in and year out in the NFL, but that's still a hell of a win. I mean, they smacked the Chargers last week, Washington did, and you go into their crib and beat them with everything that happened last year too, a lot of storylines and just emotions involved. And let's face it, I mean, a lot was going against Chicago last night. They were on the wrong end of some calls, it felt like. Then some self-inflicted wounds started to come in. And I think we all would agree when they went down 8 points, it felt like it just wasn't going to be their night. But DeAndre Swift pops a big play, and all of a sudden they're right back in it. And what a huge win, man. Awesome night. And it feels like this team's got a little mojo right now, and I think you got to give Ben Johnson a lot of credit for that.
Listen, me and you have both gone through this, and Harrison Graham joining us here on the Windy City Breeze. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. We've been through the ups and downs of this team over the last few years, and I think what we saw last night, the game plan, dare I say, is one of the best game plans that we've seen in a road game in years from this team. I don't even, maybe going back to that 2018 season with Matt Nagy, there were some solid game plans that year. I know we we don't remember it fondly, but there were some really solid game plans throughout that season. When you looked at what we saw from the Bears in that Washington game, did it boost the confidence at all for you in Ben Johnson? Were you always 210% in on Ben Johnson, or did that kind of solidify, like, I think we finally have the right chemistry of head coach, DC, quarterback in the room?
Yeah, Ben Johnson was my top guy from the beginning, primarily because I wanted the best offensive coach available, and he was the most qualified for that. You spent the number 1 pick on Caleb Williams. You had to get someone in here to get him on track. And you're starting to see that. Is it perfect? No. Is there still some missed throws by Caleb? Yes.
Yeah.
But I see a more calm and more confident player so far this year. But I think what's impressed me the most about Ben, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this, is any questions people had about, can this guy lead? Is he just a nerdy offensive guy? Like, this isn't Mike McDaniel. Like, this guy can command a room. We've seen that very, very clearly. He's very intentional with his words. I've been blown away with what he's been able to do. And for this team to be 0-2, get blasted in Detroit, and to come back and win 3 straight, I think it's a testament to the trust and the belief that this staff and players have in one another right now. Is this team going to go win 12 games? I don't know, but I don't think it's the same old Chicago Bears.
No, 100%. And I think you bring up some great points there, especially with Ben Johnson being somebody who can command the room. I've done this exercise myself just because probably I'm a sycophant. I love to go back and just watch old Matt Eberflus win videos where he goes, hey, quarterbacks, love what we saw from you. Like, he's praising multiple quarterbacks. Like, one guy played, hey, running backs, crusher. Love what we're seeing on the back. And you feel the energy in the room of a team that's just like, yeah, we won a game. Thanks. All right, let's get out of here. That's not what we're getting right now out of this Ben Johnson-led team. And I think you're seeing a team that is responding for 4 quarters because the mindset that Ben Johnson brings into the room is good enough isn't good enough. And it felt like so many times when Flus was here that good enough was okay. Hey, we're going to go out there, we're going to put up points early in the first half, and then we're going to run the clock out and the defense is going to win the game. That doesn't work in my mind in the modern NFL. And I think it's one of the biggest things that Ben Johnson has brought to this team is, hey, you go out there and play four quarters and you can find a way to win no matter what. You saw that yesterday with Nashawn Wright, who had an up and down game, but in that fourth quarter makes one of the biggest plays that you're going to need to see.
Yeah, I just think there's an aggressive nature and mindset to Ben Johnson. There's a belief, and it's like the 4th and 1 yesterday. I actually didn't like the play call per se.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But when people are saying just kick it and go up 9, I'm like, guys, like, that's what Matt Eberflus would have done. Like, it's the first half. If there's 4 minutes left in the game and it makes it a 2-score game, yes, you kick that field goal. But like, this is what we've been wanting, and we can't second guess it when it doesn't work out. So I like his belief. I like his mindset. After that Detroit game, he came out there and said, I have full belief in these players. And, some people rolled their eyes like, oh boy, just lost by 30. I don't know about this, but he has brought just a next level of just intensity and detail to this team. And I think the sign of a good coaching staff too is this was one of the worst running attacks and run defenses in the NFL heading into the bye week. What do they do coming out of the bye? They outgain Washington on the ground, the best rushing attack in the NFL. That is finding solutions to your weakness as a staff and as a football team. So kudos for that. I just, it sounds cliche. I just don't think they win these last 2 games under the prior coaching staff.
No.
I just don't. They would have folded last night when they went down 24-16 before. They would have been like, you know what? We're getting screwed by the officials. Some self-inflicted wounds have popped up. It just hasn't gone our way. They would have gone on to lose that game like 27-16, but they hung in there. They stayed in it. Swift pops the big play, and just like that, they're right back in the game. So I think this group has shown pretty good resilience so far this year.
Well, and I think to that point, the refs alone probably would have destroyed the mindset of a previous regime of this Bears team, right? Because we've seen that, right? Where the refs are calling the game against you, and eventually it's just, well, you can't overcome the refs. Yes, you can. We see teams do it week in and week out. The NFL refereeing crews are not elite. That was a brand new refereeing crew. To me, shame on the NFL for throwing them out there and putting them in that situation. I get trial by fire, but like, this is a massive game here, and you kind of knew that it was going to be a big storyline game. The Bears, though, being able to dig deep and overcome that, I think that says a lot about not only who this team is growing into, but the fact that everything you've laid out, right? It's not perfect. Caleb Williams is missing throws. There's overthrows still happening there, but you're finding ways to win those games. To me, that's a conversation on a team that as you're getting better, once you get to the point where those throws become routine that Caleb is starting to miss, that's how you're kicking your feet up in the fourth quarter. Now, all of a sudden, you're talking about a defense that can pin its ears back. I think this Bears team has an opportunity here over the next 5 or 6 weeks, depends on how you play it out, but to become a very dangerous football team if you can start to get some of those things right. You heard Ben Johnson yesterday saying, the big thing is getting the self-inflicted wounds out, getting the shooting yourself in the foot with penalties out of the game. There's a different football team if they can start to play some clean football week in and week out.
Yeah, and what I really like about all three of these wins is it's kind of been a different story each game. The Cowboys game was kind of just the dominant passing attack from Caleb in the offense. The Raiders game, defense creating turnover after turnover, defense keeping you in the game when the offense is sputtering out. Last night, offense kind of comes out hot. Jake Moody, of all people, makes some big kicks. So, but it's just kind of a testament to this team. Next man up mentality, finding different ways to win. Oh, here comes the running game. Here comes DeAndre Swift. This isn't just a team that can win in one way. One week it's the passing game. One week it's the running game. The defense is on a streak of turnovers right now. So I just like what I'm seeing here. When you can win games in different ways in the NFL, that gives you a shot most weeks.
Yeah, 100%. Now, as we get out of, kind of the Washington game, looking ahead, where's your confidence that this Bears team can pick up some of these wins? I mean, you got the Saints on the way. You've got the Ravens who, I mean, even if Lamar comes back, that defense is decimated right now. It looks real ugly. Yeah. Like I talked about this as a statement win because I think it's a win last year that gave Washington confidence, and they had some games lined up in their favor when they then went on to go on their run that they went on. I feel like that opportunity is available here to the Bears. Again, I'm with you. I'm not saying the Bears are going to be a 12-win football team as of yet, but it does feel like you can pick up a lot of confidence and a lot of ground moving forward here.
This might sound crazy to say. I think this next game is pretty important. The Saints,
yeah.
I think the lazy take would be, oh, the Saints suck. They're the worst team in the league. I thought they'd be the worst team in football this year. They are not the worst team in football. They're 1-5. Spencer Rattler's actually been pretty solid. They've been in every single game except for one. Yeah. I mean, they easily could be 3-3, 4-2 if they have a couple things go their way. I think Kellen Moore has that team playing hard. The Bears should beat this team. They are certainly better, but an immature team would kind of go through the motions this week. And this is where I trust Ben Johnson. Like, hey, I promise you, this staff will make it clear to the players this week. This is not a joke of a game. Like that, this is a real team coming to Soldier Field. So, like, to me, if the Bears are really a team taking the next step, go beat this team by like 10 points because they went toe-to-toe with the Patriots. They hammered the Giants a couple weeks ago. Like, they're playing pretty decent football. The record is not indicative of the competitiveness that New Orleans has shown. Is Chicago better? Are they at home? Should they win this game? Certainly, but if the Bears come out flat and don't play well, they could lose this game. So I'm eager to see, like, that would show an even almost in a way another step for me to just handle business in this game. Like, if they can do that would impress me almost more than beating Washington, because you had all the motivation in the world for this game. 15 days off, prime time, going up against the team that derailed your season last year. Even Ben got knocked out with Detroit by Washington. Like, they had so much reason and ammunition to bring the heat last night. It's human nature to almost look at the Saints and be like, oh, well, we'll beat them at home.
Yeah.
You can't look at it that way. So if they come out business-like approach and just handle this team, in a lot of ways, that would impress me even more than the win from last night.
Yeah, listen, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, it's the NFL. Anybody can go out there and win a game at any point. And this is the game that people describe as the trap game, right? Hey, we got the Ravens next week. That in 2 weeks. That's a game that we really have to focus in on. You overlook this Saints game. This is a Saints team that, dare I say, I'm not going to say that they're good, but I don't think that they're poorly coached. And that has gotten them much more competitive outcomes than I think many people would expect when you just go through, when you look at the scores and you look at the records. Those have been hard-fought games. And so, like, if you are able to pick that up, you move to 4-2 in the division. The NFC North right now, I hate the tie so much. The Packers tie at the tie. Drop FGBs for that in the chat.
Come on, Dallas.
The Packers tie. Like, can we just make it NFL or college overtime rules? Everybody going to war at the 20. Both sides get a shot, just back and forth. I'm so sick of the tie. Anyway, that's my sidebar. But I truly think you get to 4-2. You build that confidence. You're beating the teams you're supposed to beat, and you're beating the teams that they didn't expect you to beat. Now, all of a sudden, you've got a Bears team that kind of sees the light and says, hey, like, there's an opportunity here for us to rattle off quite a few wins. I think more of a statement that we saw in talking about it being a statement game was probably made to the players in that locker room than it was to everybody else in the world, because there's a lot of players on this team that went through the mental hurdles of, when we get down in this game, we're going to lose this game. When we get behind in this moment, we're going to lose this moment. I think that the mental high that the Bears are on right now might be the most important thing we've seen in Chicago in years.
Well, what do we always hear in sports? What's the biggest cliche in sports? Culture. That word, it's that word culture.
Yeah.
And it's a cliche, but I think there's truth to it. And I think the right coach and the right staff can bring culture, but the players also have to win themselves. Like, you know how you create a good culture? You win games like that. Like, right? Like,
Yeah.
the staff can only do so much. They can only set so much of a tone. At some point, you got to go out there and make one more play than the other team. And they've done that 2 weeks in a row in games in which they would not have done that in the past. So, like, that's how you start to establish culture. You get the right coach in, which they have. You build that belief in those calluses in training camp, but then you got 17 cracks at this to prove you can win these games. And the NFL is a one-score league, man. Over the course of 17, 10 to 12 of your games are going to be one score. So, they're 2-1 in one-score games right now. They missed the opportunity in week 1 against Minnesota, but the last 2 games they've won those. And the formula is pretty simple to be a playoff team. There's anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 5 games on the schedule that you would consider games you should win.
Yeah.
You got to win almost all those. Maybe you drop one. There's 2, 3, 4 games on the schedule where you're like, you should lose. You got to at least find one of those, if not 2. And then there's 10 50-50 games, and you got to win 6 of them. If you do that, you're a playoff team. I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to.
The simple math of it.
and I look at it right now, and, I think the Raiders was a game you absolutely had to win. It wasn't pretty, but you got it. I think the Commanders is one of those 50-50 games. You won it. The Minnesota one was a 50-50 game. You lost it. At Detroit was a game you probably shouldn't win. You lost it. Dallas at home, probably a 50-50 type of game, maybe 60-40. You got that one. So you're 3-2. These toss-up games, you got to win more of them than you lose. And the Saints probably fall in the category of that's a game you need to win. So you can't afford to slip up this week.
No, 100%. Before we let you get out of here, Harrison, appreciate you for taking the time out to come on to the show. Are there additions after that game that you feel that the Bears need to make? I feel like if you had lost that game, you probably end up saying, hey, this is the team that we're trying to figure out. We're building, and we're going to build with what we have here. But winning that game, I think it opens that door a little bit more to say, hey, maybe we're a better team than we expect here in year 1 of Ben Johnson. Maybe there's some additions we need to make. I know we saw a big game from DeAndre Swift. Is running back an option for you? We've heard Justin Simmons' name floated out there. I don't know if the Titans are willing to let him go. Quinnen Williams is a name that's being floated out there. I don't think the Jets are going to be willing to let him go. I don't care if Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson are best friends here. Is there anybody out there or a position that you feel like the Bears may need to go after to address here moving forward?
I think for now, at least for the next week or two, you probably hit the pause button on running back. I think long term, that's still a position you're going to want to add. But, I'm willing to give this Swift-Monungai pairing the next game or two, see if they can build off that game in Washington. You still got about 3 weeks till the trade deadline. So I think you kind of pump the brakes on that for now. I think if all things are equal, I'd be sniffing around the pass rusher market, whether that's a defensive tackle, whether that's an edge rusher. If they're going to take a swing at a Jeffrey Simmons or a Trey Hendrickson, they'd have to move a little bit of money around. They only have $10 million in cap space, so they'd have to restructure somebody. They'd have to move off a contract. So there could be some complications there. But let's say they win 2 out of the next 3. Let's say they beat the Saints and then split Baltimore and Cincinnati, and they're 5-3 before the deadline. And that pass rush still isn't where you want it. I'd be open to adding there if the right player is available. Do you do the Trey Hendrickson thing? If you do, I mean, you probably have to extend him. So are you moving off of Montez Sweat in a separate trade if you do that? He actually played better last night. So it gets interesting. I don't think anything would happen this week coming off that game.
No.
The D-line played better. The run game was better. So I think the dust probably settles here for a couple more weeks. But I think if you ask me, one area where I still think this team could use a piece is an impactful pass rusher. I still don't think you're getting enough there. It was kind of a group effort last night. Dexter had popped a couple times. Dom Rob got in the backfield once. Sweat didn't get a sack, but I thought he actually got after Jaden a few times. I thought he played better. He's
got the forced fumble too.
Yeah, I got that as well. They need him to continue to play well, but that would be the thought I would have, is potentially a pass rusher, but we'll see. I think it probably depends on how the next few weeks go and where they're sitting at, either heading into Cincinnati or coming out of that game.
Yeah, hopefully we got a team that's able to kind of figure out where they need some help at, and hopefully you don't need to address it. I'd love to see a Javon Dexter develop. I would love to see Montez Sweat start to turn into that guy, even if he's just the guy we saw last night, consistently pressuring the quarterback, knocking the football away, a big third down tip where he gets the hand on the ball, like a guy that's consistently impactful. I would love to see that be him moving forward. Is he going to live up to the contract? Probably not at this point, but that's okay. Like, be the best version of yourself that you can be for this team. And while I would love to see the sack numbers go up, I like the turnover numbers that we're producing on that defensive side of the ball as well. Harrison, appreciate you taking the time out and coming on to the show. Make sure you guys stay tapped in with everything they have going on over at Chat Now and at Bears Now, especially Bears Now. We don't want to be, shouting out any of the other teams too much out here. But make sure to follow Harrison at HGramNFL on Twitter as well. Harrison, thank you for taking the time out, man. Have a great day, bro.
Appreciate it. And yeah, no reason to go subscribe to our Packers channel. We don't need need any of that. Come check out Bears Now, but appreciate you guys and would love to do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Definitely going to have you back on. Big bear down to you guys out there as always, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. For Harrison Graham, it's your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. One love. Peace.